So if you type Sagat versus Gal on YouTube, 90% of the time, Gal is the winner. How do you feel about that? I feel like if you type Sagat versus anybody, just fill in the blank on YouTube, you're going to see them winning 90% of the time. If my name's not a part of it, if Bonchan's name's not a part of it, Kevin Malone Chili, Reinhardt. I'm about to sneeze. Whew. Can you check out one of my replays and tell me why my crosscut DPs are booty? Not today, because today's for the subs, broham. What the fuck? You can actually see Oro's shaft, bro. That's insane, bro. You can see his... That's nuts. So if this is your first time tuning in, welcome, guys. I'm Zaf. The goal of the Sunday streams, sub-Sunday streams, is to just help people level up with more direct, one-on-one opportunities. So I basically give my subs the options of analysis paralysis, which is where I take a replay like I'm doing here, and I'll break it down for the entire chat to learn from. First to fives with some feedback. Sub wars, which is where I pit subs of equal strength against each other, equal rank. Right, and they give me their goals, and they do a first to three, and we watch it live and commentate it. And then lastly, lab collab. So if there's a concept that you need help with, I'll break it down in training mode or whatever. Of course, all you need is a Twitch Prime, a simple Twitch Prime, and we will make sure that all 4 weeks of your Twitch Prime on Sundays will be 1,000% ROI, all right? The key to this matchup, I will tell you, is you have to take advantage of the fact that he wants to get by your fireball. Because ideally, High Shot absolutely destroys Fong, okay? Why is that? I'll show you why that is. So ideally, if we look at the ranges, whenever you start the match, right, 99 seconds, you want to take a quick peek across the screen and see at this natural spacing, which is the first spacing every single round, right? It's not like Mortal Kombat where you can move and then change the spacing. Like, no. Every single round starts at this exact spacing. So we ask ourselves, who's winning right here? The reason why Sagat is winning is because if you look at both of these characters' tool sets, right? If you look at both of them and compare them, you see that they both have projectiles, but which one controls the screen more? It's going to be Sagat's, because Fong's... He has two projectiles technically, right? He has the carpet, right? But that doesn't move. That's stationary. And then he has the up ball. But the thing about up ball is it has an arc where it travels like this. It goes like this. Okay? So because it travels like this, all of this is a dead zone until it gets to like right around here, where it can hit you at the top of your head. Okay? So ideally, you want to go underneath the fireball, or you want a high tiger shot, the carpet. All right, so if you see him doing carpet, pretend this is a carpet, right? You see this, your focus now goes approach here with fireball. If you see him do this, you see him start to do the up balls, then your focus is now going to shift to going underneath it. So what are some options that you have? Well, for one, you have EX low shot. That's one. Number two, which is my favorite, I'm gonna actually star this, Ara EP. If he does up ball, Sagat will move forward underneath the up ball, so Sagat will dodge it. He'll be able to DP underneath him and get a shitload of damage. These are the two ways you're gonna deal with the up ball. Is either you can low shot, EX low shot is really fast and it'll hit him. Like, you'll get hit by the up balls, but you'll knock him down. You don't always want to do this. Ideally, this is the one you want to do, in my opinion, the Kara DPs, because at this exact range, if he does up balls, you can Kara DP, you could still DP his jump in. Okay, if he does the command dash, if he tries to command dash underneath your fireball, you can just crouching medium punch buffer into Tiger Knee, and then now he ends up getting sent to the corner, which is not a good thing for Fong because he doesn't have great defense, right? So ideally, let's just talk about the rhythm really quick. You see how he's committing to things? This is how Fong players play. Round one, fight, immediately does something, okay? He immediately does something. He's taking a bigger risk than you are because you're crouching fierce, like he can't really whiff punish it into anything significant from that range. He's taking a huge risk because if you were looking for that and then you got crouching medium punch into Tiger Knee, now you get your fireball trap started and stuff like that. So when you see somebody take a risk like this at the beginning of a round, it's essentially telling you that this is the rhythm that they're going to play at. Because now, look, he's immediately playing his cards. Look, boom. As soon as he recovers from this, what does he do? He does immediate or unique attack, right? He tries to do the coward crouch, right? So he tries to do a command attack. And now look, after he gets hit by fireball, what does he do now? Now he does command, you see? So he doesn't stop. This is the rhythm that they play at. So you have to adjust in your mind this level 1 Sagat play. When you play against people that don't give a shit, you have to get used to them constantly making decisions, because in your head you want to take a break. But when you play simple and you understand that they just are constantly responding at the same rhythm, it makes it a lot easier for you to counteract this type of gameplay. And it's not just Sagat, this is any character can do this, because a lot of people play like this naturally. It doesn't matter the matchup. They just constantly are making decisions over and over and over again. Guarantee you he does something. Probably gonna do command dash. Oh, he did sweep. Now command dash? Oh, see? You see how he hasn't stopped? Every time block stun has been induced, he's constantly doing something. So there's no reason for you to back up. You just sit strong and just react. And what you want to do is you want to have a hierarchy of things that you're looking for. So what I mean by that is, let's say when he blocks or when he gets hit by this, you ask yourself, what are the things that I'm going to look for? Well, you want to look for the things that are going to be like the fastest first. So ideally, I would say dash, okay? If he does like a regular dash. Number 2, I'd say command dash. And then number 3, I would say like jump. Okay, these are like the movement options. So you would focus on the fastest thing first, and then you start to look for the next thing, because when you've looked for dash and he doesn't do dash, right? This is the fastest thing. You can cross it off of your mental focus. Then the next thing is command dash. It looks similar, so they both move across the screen. So then you say, okay, oh, he didn't do this. All right, so get rid of it. And then jump would be the last thing. So I'm constantly doing this every time I put somebody in a block stun scenario. I'm just looking for the fastest to the slowest movement. Boom, 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 boom. If I don't see these things, then I can make a decision. Now, if I notice that they're not doing either of these 3 things, that's when I impose myself. You see, so that's when I'll do like back-to-back fireballs against Fong, or I'll dash up. Kind of have a mental checklist. If you watch players play, you'll notice like in neutral, when there's a whole bunch of nothing going on, let's say we're both just kind of idle, just a bunch of dots on the screen next to our heads, we're just kind of waiting. This is like the waiting game, right? This is our thought bubbles, right? Nothing comes out. So ideally what happens is the player that notices it first tries to establish offense, so they might dash or something like that. So you can do the same thing off of block stun. You just confirm that your opponent's behavior is a little bit more calm than maybe usual, and then you can probably do something. But when you play off of meter, you notice, oh shit, this dude has meter. I don't trust this motherfucker. He's gonna do something stupid, and then you stop. You have to stop yourself first. All right, next. So you see his rhythm, sweep, command dash. So well, you don't want to waste movement. You want to think of your movement as being something you want to invest accurately, right? Because the more you move, the greater the chance that scrambles can happen. You understand what I'm saying? So when you do a backdash like this, now you have to recover. Like you are at advantage, but you still have to recover and all this shit. You gotta adjust for the spacing. There's a lot more variables you have to account for. So you want to make sure that you don't move unless you have to move. You know what I'm saying? Like if he has V-trigger, then that's a smart time to do that. You know why? Because then you could dodge the V-trigger activate, right? Like against Abigail or against like characters that have really strong V-trigger activates, putting them in block stun here and then immediately committing to like a backdash is a great option, because they never get the chance to hit you right here to get their V-trigger activated. All right, it'll completely whiff, and now they look like a bunch of fucking bozos. Understand? Because he doesn't have the V-trigger, then you could just block his sweep. So you got to be mindful of how many different ways can you punish one thing. So that way you're more like stoic about things. You don't get as emotionally riled up about things that might scare you. Now look what happened. Now he gets started. So whenever you're in that type of a situation where he does like the double kick, like +2, I believe. Yeah, he's +2. In this situation, if he does jab, he's +2. Cool, right? But what you can start doing is being very evasive on defense. You can start jumping back, right? You could start doing delay jump back. So when he starts going for laggy things, if he tries to go for like coward crouch again, which is very common, you'll just jump away from the coward crouch. And a lot of times these Fong players are immediately canceling it into the double kicks because they want to establish that pressure as fast as possible. They don't want to give you any leeway and extra time for you to confirm what's happening, because then you can counter that approach, right? So they tend to commit to things. So when you notice people are abusing things, you have to abuse the fact they're abusing things. So you start to put them in scenarios where if they commit to things immediately, they get fucked up. So case in point, jumping defensively is very strong against people that buffer defensively. You'll see Punk do it a lot. You see Idom do it a lot. They like jump during strings and people get fucked up for it. Okay, so they'll jump at certain spacings and string traps. So that way when you go for the perfectly spaced safe special, yeah, it's spaced, but it's spaced and it's whiffed because now your opponent's recovering in the air and now they're going to land and punish you. You know what I'm saying? But you see, so when you play against Fong, that jab, what they do is they push themselves out to a range where they can do this. So you have to be mindful of what range. Different Fong players do this coward crouch differently. So certain Fong players will do the coward coward crouch on top of you after, you know what I'm saying, one light attack. Some will wait a little bit further. They'll do maybe 2 light attacks, push themselves a little further outside of throw range, right? Because they don't have the threat of throw. Others will wait until they are outside of the range of the light attacks where it's only medium. But because Fong's medium attacks aren't really hit confirmable, they're not going to go for the crouching medium punch unless they have the corner, because if they have the corner, then they could do the trap and then they could start going crazy, right? So instead, if they're mid-screen, if they're over here, what they're going to do is they're going to give up that medium, which they can't really hit confirm anyways, and they're going to go for this. So what you do is you identify where are they doing this. Every Fong player, where are you doing this? Whenever you play matchups, you have to think of each matchup as its own universe. So you have to figure out what is the center of this solar system. It's going to be this when he's on offense. When it's neutral, it's going to be the up balls. See what I'm saying? So you simplify the game. Far away, I focus on up balls. Up close, I worry about coward crouch. That's the universe. You don't think about anything else until they show you something else. Then you figure out that those other things are kind of supplements. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the vitamins in their strategy. The main meal is this, but when they want to get the extra protein, the extra, you know, zinc and iron, then they have the supplements, which would be like little tactics and stuff like that here and there, you know what I'm saying, that they'll use. See? You see how he pushed himself to that exact range? So you can make these little lines in your head. You can say, all right, well, after 1 tick, that's that. We'll make it that color. You could just have this in your head, right? I'm just making this up on the fly. 2, we'll have it like it's this range or 2 light attack. And then if he goes past this point, 3, right? Which is like, this is where the gap is the widest. You could think of it like that. Because now, backdash and jump back is a lot stronger. The further away he is, when he's close, and then he starts pushing himself away, you can start crossing these out and being like, all right, my gap is much wider. I can escape this a lot easier. Does that make sense? So now, you know he's far away. I can now do jump back. I could do backdash. I have way more options as opposed to if I block 1 attack and then backdash, I probably still get hit by the coward crouch. Or even 2, if I backdash too late and he does 2 light attacks, I might still get hit by backdash late. So you want to simplify it to this, like what is the range? And you see here, he tends to push himself really far. So what you could start doing is you could start doing unique things like neutral jumping, and then you get a really beefy punish, a jump in punish on him. In the corner, you can jump out. What you can do also is you can do like commit to crouching heavy punch and crush counter this. Like just let him push himself away and then immediately commit, right? So let's say we go back. You see, like right here, see how you did the 3 lights? And then now you just commit to crouching fierce because you know that what else is he gonna fucking do? And you just crush counter his shit. And now it makes them think. And remember, consideration is a very powerful tool to leverage in this game because it makes people get out of character. When you make people consider, they play slower. They have to go through they don't always go through this process of like analysis, but it is more likely that they will second guess themselves. And once they start second guessing themselves, you can start imposing yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because they're not playing as swiftly. Then they're actually now thinking about risk. You want to make people think about risk so then you can take advantage on defense and flip offense on them. Now, let's go back. So you see how you pushed him away. We already talked about how he's just kind of like doing stuff at that rhythm. At that range, he's just doing shit back to back. It's like Jip said, keeping a certain spacing is really important against Fong. And in general, against any character, especially a character like Sagat, because spacing is really important because each spacing is going to influence the way a player plays. But you see how you pushed him to that range of the 3 lights. You pushed him there. He didn't push himself there. So it doesn't really matter who creates the range sometimes. A lot of times, actually. It's if the range is created. That's what you should focus on, in my opinion, so that you can gain experience or recognizing that in people's behaviors. So you push him to that range and you've made him do this. And now you can start using it against him. So sometimes I push people to that range on purpose and just neutral jump. So you could do the same thing against Balrog. You can do the same thing against Bison. Or light attacks, you should buffer it. So that way you get some sort of reward. Because the reward isn't just damage, it's also block stun or hit stun. No, you don't have to, it's not even a confirm, you just buffer it. Just commit to it. Doesn't matter if it whiffs. If it whiffs, it whiffs. It's just stand like it against a fireball. The fireball doesn't come out. If they press something and extend themselves, then they get hit. You understand what I'm saying? So let's say like you push them to this range. This is the way buffers work. You push somebody to a range, and then they decide, all right, am I going to sit still or am I going to extend myself? You see what I'm saying? So ideally, what you're doing is you're trying to snipe this, the extension forward. Somebody moving forward, okay? If they sit still, then this doesn't matter because your button special attack's not going to come out. If they do something, then you're going to hit them and then you get your special to come out. So there's no hit confirming. You just do it. What is the situation that's going to help my character win if I keep doing it? Like, what's the greatest chance, right? There's no like one thing that if I do, I automatically win. But if you maintain a certain situation long enough, the chances of you winning increases, right? So ask yourself, with Oro, what is that? So the way you figure that out is you look at his tool set. What does he have? He has a fireball. He has a multi-hitting fireball. He has a V skill that can stay on the screen and it can just do all sorts of crazy shit, right? So ideally, Fireball, in my opinion, is the center of this character, okay? Which is probably why a lot of people aren't doing too great with him until they get V-Trigger. It's because they don't, very few people on Earth have a good Fireball game. It's going to start with Fireball. That is like the center of his approach. My opinion. That's just my perspective. Not saying I'm right, but that's what I think. Look at Bison's design. A lot of plus buttons, right? Great throw range, high damage off of frame traps. So ideally, he wants to be in. He doesn't have a Fireball. So if you look at the design of both characters, you're like, okay, I gotta throw Fireball. He doesn't have a Fireball. When you look at tools, we say, what tools do we have access to that can immediately influence neutral? So if we ask ourselves this at the match start, technically who is winning right here? Technically, Oro is winning because Oro has a projectile, okay? He has a projectile, so he's technically at advantage. What you have to then do is explore your opposing character, your enemy, your opponent's character to see what do they have to deal with your automatic advantage. So what does Bison have to deal with Fireball? I'll let you answer that question, chat. I want you guys to, participate. What does Bison have to deal with Fireball immediately, like right now? Because we want to start off with Fireball, right? We want a Fireball. We want to look at his Fireball, but we also want to pay attention to these two things, the meters. Boom, 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 right? If I don't have meter, I have to now think of options without meter. We don't start the match off with super, obviously, right? So what do we have? Okay, so we see Blaven says the absorbing V skill. Yes, that's number one. Stomp is also another one. So what you do is Cycle Ball. So what we do is, let's say we go and we make a note. Let's list in order what is the easiest thing to counter Fireball. So number one, it's going to be V-Skill, obviously. Because when we talk about, like how easy is it, we're talking about reward on top of like executing it. And, do I have to set up certain scenarios or can I just react? Right? So obviously with Bison, it's V-Skill. Okay? You already know Fireball. Bison V skills, now he has 2 hit. That's not good. We don't want that. Because now what happens is Bison, who does not have a Fireball, now has a Fireball. And it's a 2-hit EX meterless Fireball that not only blows through your projectiles, unless you have EX, which we don't, or if you do V skill Fireball, which takes a long fucking time, right? That shit takes forever. He's also gaining V meter, which plays into his advantage, which is what? To pressure you. We don't want him to get that advantage immediately. If he's going to get it, obviously. He's going to get the V-trigger. It's inevitable. That's the game. That's the way it works. But we want to put him in situations where he has to make decisions that will reward us. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to give it to him, and then it's like we never really got started or established anything, because that's obviously not good, right? We will get bodied. And it's fast as hell, right? It's really fast. It hits you. He gets knocked down. He's gaining V-meter. It's decent damage. It blows through your Fireball. You can't really jump it on reaction. You can't really use EX, like, or anti-Fireball stuff against it, because he can just walk and press 2 buttons. He doesn't have to buffer. So there's a lot of things that go into it. So this right here, this is the center of Bison's universe against projectile characters. This is going to be your priority to focus on, okay? And then once he gets meter, that's when you can start adding in, like, okay, with EX, he gets EX Stomp, right? So we'll make that blue for the meter. So these are the 2 things you're going to want to watch, ideally. V-Skill, Stomp, okay. This is not easier to use than what is the other option. We totally forgot because no fucking other character has this bullshit. It is the fucking dash. It's dash. This shit is stupid as fuck. He can dash to your Fireball, so you got to be very mindful of that. So remember what we talked about with Fong and Rhythm and Block Stun? Whenever you introduce Block Stun, especially if something that they want to punish, that's when you look for anti whatever it is that you did. So if I do a Fireball on Block Stun, then I know that's to look for anti-Fireball stuff right there when he recovers. Because a lot of players have predictable rhythms. They want to play immediate, fast. They're not patient. So if he blocks a Fireball, 9 times out of 10, he's either going to jump, he's going to dash, he's going to stomp, he's going to do something. Or he'll start looking for V-Skill Fireball. The way you would know, like Snowmat was doing when they give up space, they start moving backwards because they're looking for something. Or they're confused. All right, so that's like one of the telltale signs. Somebody's looking for something. What the fuck am I looking at? That was so godlike! Oh my god! Are you fucking kidding me? Wow. Jesus Christ. I just thought of that shit on the... Bruh. Are you fucking kidding me? That was OD. Come on, bro. What? Let me go see Nell Bomb's face. Yeah, buddy. Let's look at Nell Bomb's face, guys.
It take like 5 seconds to figure out what the fuck those kicks are on.
Why can't I chat? Am I banned in his chat?
Hello, Zaferino. How's it going? You got so fucking lucky I don't know frame data. You're so fucking lucky.
Fuck you, Nell. Go ahead. I know you want to. Of course. I know. I already know, man. I get it. Boom. 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 Match. I think what happened is a lot of the players that had good connections stopped playing. So then all you're getting are the people that like play Street Fighter a lot, but they don't understand like netcode and stuff like that, like the importance and significance of having wired connections. Ah! Yikes.